Hi and welcome again to The Winning Factor. Well, it's a new season in Hong Kong starting on Sunday. A lot of questions to be answered, a lot of winners to be backed, hopefully. And on Sunday, the first race we're going to have a look at is race 5 and the winning factor here, the trainer. Now, there were easier races I could have picked because this Class 5 is quite an open one, but that's all part of what we're doing here. The better chances look to be Sha Tin, down in grade, having his first start for trainer Danny Shum. Universal Crown, he was looking near a win at the end of last season. Kwai Chung Elite finished his campaign in good form, as did One Step Ahead. And I think One Happy Star also has a chance from an inside draw after not having much luck since dropping down to Class 5. And you can add to that a couple more fringe winning chances in this Class 5, so it's not the easiest of races, an open contest, but it does give me a chance to look at the early season trainers, and that's why I've landed with Danny Shum and Sha Tin. And the first thing that I want to show you is a table that I bring out every year, and this is the early season trainers. And I think it's a good one to have on the first show because it's not just useful for Sunday's racing, but for the first 2 months of the season. I use 145 races. That usually takes us through to the end of October. And there are a number of trainers whose style is to get out and running at the start of the season, and they do it pretty much every year. And if you look at this table, it covers all of our current trainers, and I've shaded the ones who are 10 winners or more in that first 145 races of the season. And over the top, say, 5 trainers during that period, we'll get about 40% of the winners being sent out by their yards. So it's pretty important, this one, just to keep an eye on until we get through to November. And as you can see there, Danny Shum, one of our leaders in this area. And more than that, Danny Shum has always been a big factor on opening day. He trained a winner with his 3rd runner in a race when he started training 18 years ago, and on opening day he's only failed 4 times to land a blow, training 21 winners in that time at the opening meeting. So he's certainly a man to watch on Sunday. He has a number of good chances, a couple at short odds, but I thought I'd look for Sha Tin as he is at a slightly better price. So let's take a look at how he finished his last campaign, and this is race 819 of last season, and you see him here. He's in dark colours with a white quartered cap from gate 13, Karis Teton aboard here, and Karis has to take him all the way back from that wide draw to avoid being caught wide. Now, as the heat map shows here, not a particularly strongly run race in the early and middle stages, so it wasn't easy to give up such a big start and still be able to get into the finish against what were some quite handy gallopers in Class 4. But you'll see in the home stretch, Sha Tin applies himself well. He strides out strongly, making up good ground on the horses who were fighting out the finish, and ultimately winds up in 5th. Now, as I mentioned, that was Class 4. He now drops into Class 5, and he also has a stable change from Tony Millard to Danny Shum's yard, and that means that he intersects with one of my other favourite factors in Hong Kong racing, and that is the stable transfer. So I thought we'd take an early look at what to look for there, and you'll see this is the horses changing yard for about the last 9 years, and the performances of trainers with their first time stable transfers. And once again, Shum, one of the leaders in this area, so that's another tick for Sha Tin. Now, if there is a hassle with this horse, it's possibly his gate 9. Now, we have seen him show pace at some times, as you saw in that video earlier. At other times he's been taken back and allowed to run on. This time he's in the middle, gate 9. It could be a little bit sticky, and he may have to be ridden conservatively again, but probably not quite as far back as the replay that we saw. And while there may not be a mad pace on, I think it'll be sound enough. 2 of the most likely front runners here, Day Day Rich and Vector, have both drawn out. And they'll be pressing forward and across the field early, looking to get around one Happy Star who has pace from an inside draw. So there should be enough pressure for a horse like Sha Tin to get into the finish if he is ridden conservatively, and he has Zac Purton aboard to make the on-the-run decisions, and that always helps too. So the tip in race 5, Sha Tin. His winning factor, the trainer. As we've seen, Danny Shum, a stellar performer in the early stages of each season, a very good performer on the opening day, and Sha Tin down in grade with a stable change to Shum. I think he ticks a lot of boxes here. The other race I want to take a look at is the final race, race 10, and our winning factor here, the map. Now this is a class 2 to end the day, and I see winning chances here for Chad Schofield's mount, E-Star, Highland Fortune from the Francis Law Yard, Regency Bobo, another Shum runner, but I think most punters will centre their thoughts on the chances of Master Montaro and Mr Snowden. And conveniently for us, both of these horses, in fact 5 of the runners from Sunday's race, had their last start in the same event on July 4 over this same 1400 metre distance. So let's take a look at that video, and I want to highlight particularly our key runners, Master Montaro, a middle draw, blue and white colours with a red cap, and Mr Snowden in green and white colours from the outside barrier who presses forward. Now Master Montaro, he jumps okay, but drifts right back, while Mr Snowden is doing a bit of work from the outside, presses forward, eventually settles second. But on the heat map you can see there was quite a decent speed here through the middle 800 metres. Mr Snowden, he was there part of it all the way, while Master Montaro, he's out the back, keeping his powder dry at the rear. Now in the stretch, Mr Snowden shows great courage after doing that little bit of earlier work. He has to fight off 1 or 2 challenges, but he does so successfully and comes away to win. While Master Montaro, he gives away that big start, keeps finding the line with good purpose, and he's closest on the post, finishing in 3rd place. Now, if you're just looking at the simple handicap changes, the weight changes from that race, there is a significant weight turnaround from Master Montaro against the winner there, Mr Snowden. Also weight turnarounds for E-Star and also for California Deep Shot. So there are arguments for all of those horses, but I've made the map the key component of this race for a reason. When we take a look at the map, he's drawn low this time, Mr Snowden. He won't have to do that work to get over early, and I expect he's going to get a much cheaper trip this time, either in the lead or sitting just behind Telecom Fighters. And not spending his energy through the middle of the race, I think he'll have even more of a kick when it gets busy in the straight. And he'll certainly need to have more of a kick when we consider those weight changes against him. Meanwhile, Master Montaro, not the best of beginners. He goes to gate 13 and he's almost certainly going to be back in the same place again, giving away a big start. California Deep Shot has an awkward map as well, and I think E-Star likely gives away a start to Mr Snowden as well. So on the map, the one with all the advantages is Mr Snowden. So the tip in race 10, Mr Snowden. His winning factor, the map. Sure, there are some arguments against him, but he is a horse who's only raced twice in Hong Kong so far. I think he still has a little bit of upward scope. He won last time without the favours. He looks like getting all the favours this time. Well, that's it from the winning factor for this week. Looking forward to a great season with you. See you next time.